é o mês do orgulho LGBT. T de transgênero, T de travesti, T de tendência, T de talentos de trabalho, T de transformação, T de tech, T de empregabilidade trans pra todos. Junho é o mês do orgulho trans. Seja um aliado. Venha somar com a gente na feira e Marcha do Orgulho Trans de São Paulo, o maior evento trans da América Latina, de 3 a 24 de junho. Confira a programação completa em orgulhotrans.com.br.
Olá, eu sou Pri Bertucci, CEO da SSEX BBOX Consultoria. Em parceria com o Pacto Global, trazemos esse curso para vocês saberem mais sobre o universo LGBTQIAP+. Com ele, além de tirar a maioria das suas dúvidas sobre o tema, você conseguirá levar para dentro da sua empresa a promoção da diversidade sexual e de gênero, atingindo assim mais dos 17 Objetivos do Desenvolvimento Sustentável desenvolvidos pela ONU, a ODS 5, que visa igualdade de gênero. Esses 17 Objetivos do Desenvolvimento Sustentável foram criados para a gente chegar em um planeta mais sustentável, justo, digno para todos, todas e todes. Vamos começar a nossa viagem pela diversidade?
Da sigla LGBTQIAP+,
eu me identifico como uma mulher lésbica.
Ai, que delícia de pergunta. Sempre quis responder isso, de verdade. Eu me considero uma mulher trans, queer.
Por una razón política, me identifico como un hombre trans y me identifico como una persona bisexual.
Ser uma mulher negra, lésbica, lidar com pautas mais urgentes do que pautas que geralmente uma mulher branca lésbica enfrenta, como o racismo que a gente sofre diariamente no nosso cotidiano, no nosso trabalho, inclusive nas nossas relações afetivas.
The whole notion that being transgender, non-binary, gender non-conforming is actually not new. It's not an invention that we just came up with. Throughout history, throughout cultures and societies all over the world, we can see folks who have not conformed to gender standards, who have been a third gender, who've been two-spirit, and who've in some way transgressed these particular gender roles. We see them everywhere. We're talking about it a lot more now.
Siempre hicimos parte de la tierra latinoamericana y de otras naciones, solo que nuestra historia todo el tiempo ha sido callada. No, la historia de las naciones no está escrita por nosotros y nosotras. Entonces eso es lo doloroso, porque no hacemos parte de la historia y por eso ahora la gente se sorprende que haya gente que ay, ¿cómo así? ¿Se quieren cambiar el sexo? Pero es que las personas venimos haciendo tránsitos desde antes de la colonización de las Américas.
Dentro da sigla a gente tem diferenças e lutas mais específicas, né?
A gente precisa especificar cada coisa para elas poderem existir, para a gente poder reivindicar o lugar delas no mundo.
É difícil dentro de uma empresa você falar eu sou lésbica, eu acho. Apesar das coisas estarem mudando, acho que tem empresas que estão mais abertas. Imagino que algumas, não sei, por exemplo, como é dentro de uma fábrica, falar que você é sapatão. A gente sofre com pequenos conselhos, né? Não só dentro de empresa, mas com amigos, do tipo, pra que você vai falar que você é sapatão? Não precisa. E isso é uma homofobia clara, assim.
Olá, Pri. Olá, pessoal. Um prazer estar aqui com vocês, dividindo um pouco da minha experiência com o curso EAD do SSEX BBOX. E o que eu achei muito interessante é porque o tema de diversidade e inclusão não é algo que tem que estar na agenda do RH das nossas organizações. É algo que tem que ser praticado no dia a dia de todos os líderes e colaboradores para que você crie um ambiente inclusivo de fato. E esse é o grande desafio que nós temos hoje, né? Como grandes aliados da causa promover a diversidade e inclusão, é necessário que a gente comece com um ambiente de respeito. E para respeito, a gente precisa reconhecer a nossa ignorância no tema e estar aberto para aprender. E foi isso que eu aprendi aqui. Eu achei muito interessante, Pri, quando você traz para a gente uma perspectiva do nosso tamanho, sendo mais de 7 bilhões de pessoas, que seja quase impossível que nós nos encaixemos em 2 pequenos padrões. Isso já faz a nossa cabeça explodir de possibilidades. E ao abrir essa possibilidade de conhecimento, entender que cada sigla, que cada letra tem uma representatividade na nossa sociedade, e o quão importante é para a gente entender, para que ao promover um ambiente respeitoso, todos se sintam à vontade para estar nele e produzir o máximo do seu potencial, é que vai trazer para a gente um grande retorno para todas as organizações. Por isso esse tema é importante. Trazer e promover um ambiente inclusivo e diverso reflete em produtividade, reflete em aumento de receita, mas ele não pode ser feito de qualquer jeito. Por isso que o curso foi tão importante para mim. Eu acho que eu dei um grande passo, aprendi bastante e estou ansiosa para o próximo. Conto com você, hein, Pri? Até mais!
Pessoal, meu nome é Felipa.
Meu nome é Eduardo. Meu nome é Caio Henrique.
Boa tarde, me chamo Danilo. Eu sou Arinã.
Boa tarde, eu sou Carlota.
Boa tarde, meu nome é Vanessa.
Meu nome é André.
Olá, meu nome é Vitor. Eu sou Camilo, eu sou um homem trans.
Eu sou a Raquel.
É um prazer estar com todos vocês aqui hoje, para ver se a gente se aprofunda nesses conceitos LGBTQIA+, e estar com todos esses candidatas aqui incríveis para a gente trocar, né, muita experiência de todo mundo.
O nosso negócio, ele é formado por pessoas, o nosso business são pessoas, e é para pessoas e por pessoas que a gente faz tudo isso. E como principal pilar, a gente muda a vida de todas as pessoas, e é por isso que hoje nós estamos aqui. E a gente vinha quebrando muito a cabeça de querer fazer algo diferente. Nós buscamos aí o melhor parceiro para nos apoiar, que é a Sobre Pri Bertucci. E com todo o seu know-how, é a consultoria mais renomada do país, quando falamos de diversidade, precisão, assertividade e responsabilidade. Seguindo aí um modelo 360 e oferecendo a melhor solução quando falamos de sensibilização, senso e treinamento.
A população trans é a população mais sensível quando a gente está falando de comunidade LGBTQIA+. E hoje a gente vai trazer para vocês pessoas que não só elas que estão aqui, mas inúmeras outras representam muita resistência, tá? Resistência e sobrevivência. Então estão aí lutando, com bastante experiência profissional, estão buscando vida acadêmica, e vocês vão conhecer essas pessoas. E aí eu volto para vocês para entender o tamanho da responsabilidade que cada um de nós tem aqui em diminuir essa distância que existe entre todas as pessoas que fazem parte dos grupos minorizados e as grandes corporações.
É uma questão de que aquela pessoa é expulsa da escola, é expulsa da família, é expulsa, enfim, diversas adversidades que aquela pessoa passa e ela ainda continua viva. Você tem ideia do que é continuar viva? Passando por todas essas adversidades, significa que você constrói diversas habilidades para sobreviver. A gente tem um dos produtos que é o diagnóstico de RH. Sim, é interessante ver porque tem gatilhos e gargalos dentro do processo de contratação e do recrutamento que estão totalmente enviesados. Então, a flexibilização das vagas é essencial para esse processo de equidade.
I think it's a beautiful question about what is diversity. And I've been hearing more and more, especially from diversity and inclusion trainers, how sometimes that word doesn't mean enough. right? So in some way we say diversity. We can walk into a room and maybe everybody looks different, but everybody has the same education and everybody's the same class. Is that diversity? And you can argue that it is, but are you willing to talk about it? That's another thing. So diversity is not just having poster people or token people represented, but it's actually listening and having contributions be respected by the people who are coming from diverse backgrounds and diverse experiences. Right now in the US, the business news is talking about how more diversity, sex, gender, class, race, is actually more productive for your company, because I as a black trans man might be in the board meeting and I say something that's so out of the box that other people get triggered and then they go, oh yeah. So it helps to bring more creativity versus everybody's the same with the same experience, all saying the same thing.
Eu acho que um dos papéis que o RH tem que ter, que eu acho que foi o que a gente construiu, né, enquanto eu era RH, Red Bull e o Diversity Box, é a ponte. Porque eu lembro a primeira conversa que a gente teve foi essa, assim, porque existe um lugar do saber e da experiência que vocês têm, né, LGBTQIA, e vocês têm, que é um conhecimento teórico muito grande, muito profundo, e a gente que está lá na empresa, cis, que já está no meio corporativo há muito tempo. Como que essas duas coisas falam? Porque às vezes elas estão em lugares tão diferentes, às vezes parece que elas não falam, que elas discutem. E aí quando você vai, se você fica nesse lugar de discutir, se você fica em um lugar de saberes muito distantes um do outro, você não cria o lugar da fala, você não cria o lugar do encontro. Você cria dois lugares de saber que vão estar polarizados e aí você pode até criar o conflito, né? Porque eu sei, eu também sei, e aí? E aí eu acho que o RH tem que ser essa ponte, assim, e acho que é uma coisa que também que o Diversity Box ajuda muito, essa ponte entre esses dois conhecimentos. Então tá bom. Então existe esse conhecimento, essa experiência LGBTQIA, que a gente tem que se apropriar, a gente tem que entender, e existe o corporativo, que tem suas regras, suas políticas. Como que a gente dialoga? Como que a gente cria essa ponte? Esse eu acho que é um dos papéis que o RH tem também.
Eu acho que sempre tem, e a única forma que eu vejo de entrada é quando, sei lá, um grande CEO de uma dessas empresas resolve se sensibilizar pelo caso. Se não é de cima para baixo, e tem que ser assim, tipo, olha, eu quero que essa empresa tenha diversidade. Se vocês que trabalham aqui, os outros, sei lá, por cento, branco, não gostam do tema, tudo bem. Problema de vocês, e tem que vir de cima. Não adianta o cara ali da ponta falar, olha, eu quero levantar esse assunto. O único jeito que eu vejo, assim. Tem que sensibilizar o cara que está lá em cima. E, bom, nessas grandes empresas tem que mostrar que isso dá lucro. O Carrefour já provou, assim, tem uma ideia e tal, que deu lucro, né? E dá lucro, porque essa é a ideia das grandes empresas, né?
Eu só trabalho, em geral, só trabalho com brancos, quase que exclusivamente. E porque eu trabalho dentro de instituições. E nas instituições, eu trabalho com os incluídos, que são os homens, né? O masculino, o branco, o hétero. Esta é a criatura com a qual eu vou falar, buscando abrir instituição para os segmentos que estão excluídos. Então tem todo um grande desafio cotidiano, ao fazer um workshop, ao fazer um seminário, ao fazer um censo numa determinada instituição, a olhar para os programas que ela tem e buscar dentro desses programas como é que eles poderiam ser mais plurais.
Tem muita dificuldade hoje de dialogar com outros RHs, porque eu ainda acho que as pessoas, o RH que é feito hoje é muito longe do RH que as pessoas precisam. Tá? O RH as pessoas precisam, exatamente o RH que vai estar povoando espaços como esses, que vai estar dialogando com outras pessoas que são diferentes dele para conseguir entender outros olhares e conseguir criar uma organização com diferentes olhares. E isso é um desafio enorme, assim. E o que os RHs em geral fazem? É muito complexo, vamos fazer o básico. E aí fica no básico, é uma grande repetição do básico, com novas modinhas, né, novas teorias, aplica isso, aplica aquilo. O que o RH tem que fazer é sair de dentro das empresas. A empresa nada mais é do que uma cópia da realidade fora dela. E a realidade fora dela é múltipla. Não adianta você querer padronizar todo mundo, colocar políticas, processos. Cada vez mais a gente está vendo que a empresa quase que se gera por si só, ela é orgânica, né? respeitando. Na verdade, ela tá só repetindo o que é visto lá fora de uma forma um pouquinho mais estruturada e nem sempre. Então, cara, se você fica só com uma estrutura, que é isso, que no topo só tem homem cis, que quando você vai descendo tem algumas mulheres, você vai descendo tem pouquíssimos negros, pouquíssimos. E aí você vai descendo, tem pouquíssimos trans, enfim, não tá refletindo o que é a realidade.
Frankly, very often companies are genuine in their desire to stand with our community, but sometimes they don't really understand what we're talking about. They're like, how many trans people are you talking about? You know, what does it mean for my company to give opportunities to trans people? I never see them. You know, how can I send the message? Help guide them in saying, what does it mean to be a friend to our movement? How can you be a friend to trans people? The issue is that once they have made that commitment, very often they come back to me and they say, well, okay, so how do I deal with pronouns? Or, you know, can you tell me what is in Latin America the right way to go about having gender affirming surgery in my health plan? Or you said that I should set up an employee resource group, but, you know, no employee has come forward.
Eu penso no trabalho com este tema, eu penso em encontrar um lugar dentro de mim mesma, das pessoas com as quais eu trabalho e do CERT, a instituição da qual eu faço parte, encontrar aquele lugar onde é possível você se encontrar com a certeza de que tem uma dimensão humana em todos os diferentes grupos. Eu acho que isso é um aspecto importante. É um lugar seguro dentro da gente, de quem acredita que vale a pena fazer esse trabalho, porque dentro de um hétero, dentro de um homem, dentro de um branco, você tem algo que nos une. Então, como é que você encontra este lugar dentro de você como um lugar de conforto? Ok, tem esse lugar, como é que chegamos todos a ele?
Então, os RHs têm que ficar muito atentos, porque as empresas não estão traduzindo o que é a realidade. E aí, qual que é o perigo desse para o business? Isso é muito importante para o RH. O RH tem que saber traduzir isso para o business. Porque se eu falar isso para o business, ok, são só números. Mas como você traduz isso? Isso traduzindo que o que nós estamos fazendo não está aderente ao mercado que nós estamos atuando. Então, em alguma hora, isso vai se romper.
É importante você fazer uma opção teórica, metodológica, mas que para mim eu amplio dizendo, ela é espiritual, ela é energética, ela vai mexer com coisas nossas que são negadas o tempo inteiro pelo capitalismo, pela racionalidade. Você precisa ir mesmo para este lugar onde estão estas coisas que são comuns aos humanos. Acreditar neste lugar e fazer isso juntos.
A gente não tem o conhecimento técnico, teórico, e às vezes a gente não tem a vivência. E para mim o Diversity Box traz exatamente isso. E para mim foi muito prazeroso trabalhar, e além de ser prazeroso, foi muito seguro trabalhar. Porque eu sabia que tinha alguém respaldando o que a gente estava fazendo e dando uma segurança de que a gente não ia fazer besteira. E hoje as empresas têm que tomar muito cuidado com a imagem, né? Então, a gente tem alguns exemplos na mídia de artistas que talvez não foram bem assessorados e aí fizeram um grande estrago, né? Seja na mídia, na carreira deles, algumas empresas, de novo, que às vezes pintam um arco-íris, mas não entende profundamente do que está sendo falado. Então, para mim, o Diversity Box ele é essencial em qualquer empresa que pensa em fazer algo ligado à diversidade. A gente parte de um sistema que não é igual para as pessoas, então a gente tem que forçar essa equidade dentro das empresas. Como que eu traduzo isso em números, como que eu traduzo isso para o C-Level, como que eu traduzo isso para a matriz, que é uma dificuldade, que às vezes você trabalha numa empresa que só tem uma base no Brasil, que não conhece a realidade brasileira. E você tem uma matriz que está em outro país, europeu, americano, que é uma realidade completamente diferente.
That's where I think organizations like SSEX BBOX are very important, is that they create that link between the commitment and the implementation. My office doesn't have the capacity, nor does it have the knowledge to accompany companies on this journey. And so I love the work of SSEX BBOX because in kind of a fun and innovative ways, it tells companies, you know, other companies have been on that journey and I'm going to help you I'm going to help you get there. And I was very impressed when I met with some of SSEX clients when I was in Brazil by the depth of their engagement. You know, it's not the superficial, I'm going to make a little article on my intranet on the International Day Against Homophobia. It's I'm really going to think about those difficult issues. The issue of the pronouns, the issue of, you know, celebrating LGBTI people not only on the International Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia, or not only, you know, during Pride Month, but all year long. Send a clear message from senior management: you are welcome, you are part of this company. Because, you know, trucking companies, companies that produce glass for highly technical machines, companies that build cars also have a stake on LGBTI issues. And they also have to do the same journey that Coca-Cola went on. They have to go on the same journey that Microsoft went on, which is the journey from I am committed to LGBTI equality to I'm actually doing it. And I think that's the strength of SSEX. And, you know, frankly, the fact that SSEX is led by a trans leader is also extremely symbolic, which is instead of being the usual white gay guy like me that is saying, you know, I'm going to take you on that journey of inclusion, it is the part of the segment of the community that is the most marginalized that is saying, I'm actually the one that is going to take you on that journey. And I think that's also powerful. So I'm a big fan of SSEX, and I'm really looking forward to see what SSEX has in store for the next few years.
I'm so excited to announce that we are here for the 5th Trans Pride for the Trans Talks with Kalki. She is an amazing artist and a trans woman from India that has inspired me so much. And Kalki, welcome to our Trans Pride in Brazil.
Thank you, Pri, and thank you, everyone. It is an honor to be in Trans Pride Brazil. On behalf of the entire Indian transgender community from India and elsewhere, I send my love, regards, and best wishes for all the trans folks in Brazil.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here in our program. And I want really that people here in Brazil, our trans community, get to know you. Your story, it's so beautiful and there's so much power in everything you came through. So I would like you to share a little bit, like, how did you get here being this big voice in trans community in India, and also working for 13 years with your Sadhari Foundation organization? Please tell us everything for people to know this amazing path you have built all these years.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Pri. I was born in a very small town in the state of Tamil Nadu, which is like the South Africa of Africa. It's at the corner of the subcontinent, Indian subcontinent. It's at the southernmost state, surrounded two sides by the sea, Bay of Bengal, and of course, the Indian Ocean. So I speak one of the very ancient languages around the world, the Tamil language. It's also as old as the Sanskrit. So I am a Tamil person, and I was born in a beautiful town called Pollachi, which is near the Western Ghats Mountains. And I was born into a middle-class family with my father into transport business and my mother a homemaker. And I had an elder sister and a younger sister, and I was born as the only son. But at the age of 8, I realized that I was very different from the other kids. Like other trans women, I loved playing with dolls and pinky balls and, you know, Barbies and all that. Having a handbag, lipstick, and all the things girly things. But it was during my puberty that I understood that it was much more than just feeling and playing and expressing my femininity in playful ways. It was much more serious because when during my puberty, my body responded with the characteristics of the male, then I became really confused. I felt suicidal. And around 14 years of age, I told my parents, especially my mother, that I am not what you see. I am very different from who you think I am. I'm a woman, and I wanted to change, accommodate my body according to my soul and being. So they were really confused and shattered, and there was so much of drama at home with my mother crying and all that. But behind all that, there was this love about my parents. They were confused, but they were not ashamed of me. They did not want to throw me out on the streets and leave me homeless, nothing like that. They were just afraid that the world would, once the world comes to know that I'm a gender dysphoric child, a trans child, then people would exploit me. That's what was their concern. But eventually, because of the family support, I grew strong. But at the same time, I began to get acquainted with transgender people. Because I was bullied at school, I used to run away from school and get acquainted with our community people. And I saw right from my childhood how our community people were treated by their own families. And one of my friend Manju, who was a sex worker, was raped by 7 men. And also such incidences really were hurting me. So right from my childhood, I made sure that I should voice for myself, I should stand, and I should live a life of pride and courage. I also wanted to majorly, since I saw all the suffering of the community, I wanted to stand up for all of them, make a change, and I wanted to stand up for myself. So 13 years of my activism is all about that: family acceptance, social change, social justice, gender justice, legal rights, and all that, social security, safety for transgender people, economic development. All that is encompassed when we talk about equality for transgender people in India. And it's all started with that, and I stand here.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And tell us a little bit about how art was in your path and how your amazing work that we're showing in our website. If people are curious, you can go to orgulhotrans.com.br and you can see Kalki's work also there in the link for her website.
I think art is an excellent medium for human change, human development, as well as for social change. And personal development, when we talk about healing and personal development and psychological intervention, especially how art began to give me more strength. When I was confused and I was afraid of humans bullying me, my fellow classmates bullying in me at school, I used to take my bag and run to the parks and forests and sit under the tree. And I used to take my notebook and a pen and I used to draw happy images. Like, who do I want to be? I wanted to be this girl with a flower gown. I wanted to be this girl happy and carefree and all that. These were the images that I had of me for the future me. And I used to draw the future me in a pencil and a paper and all that. So visualizing that was so helpful, and it helped me to heal myself, find my little space in being happy. I did it for so many years, unconsciously and consciously. But it was only after almost 20 years, 25 years, it was only in 2017, I again found art because I began to do it. I use colors and began to do it just like that. And one of my friends told me that she was an art curator. She told me that I should do a show, and she also helped me to do a show in the city of Trivandrum. Her name is Lata Kurian Rajiv. So she helped me to do the show, and that gave me the confidence. Since then, I not only started making art, I also introduced art to our larger community, transgender community, and encouraging them to pursue art for self-healing as well as for a livelihood opportunities. So art is very transforming, and I'm also using art for our activism to stand up for our gender justice and everything.
Mm-hmm. That's so powerful. And when I imagine you underneath the tree doing these drawings of the future you, it's a very powerful, actually magical exercise, I would say, because most of us can do that, and we're definitely gonna become what we are drawing. I want to ask you, do you feel you have become the Kalki you were drawing back in the day?
Yes, I would definitely say that I have become that person, but not 100%. I would say around 70%. Sometimes because of the activism that you do and constant standing up and fighting for your justice, what happens is sometimes you forget the true spirited, free, cat-free, and happy person. Sometimes you forget it. There is a strong person who is always ready to fight. I sometimes become that, and then I forget my carefree personality. But then I make sure that I pull her down, and beyond all that, I am just there is a child in all of us that longs for love and happiness and all that. So I think I am still there. I have gone up to 70% of the images I created, but I'm happy with whoever I am today.
Yeah.
A transgender women are like that. We try to be 100% of who we are, but we will almost get there. It's the same with cisgender women too. No woman in this world is perfect. Each one is unique, and that's the beauty of it. But either if you're a trans woman or a cis woman, we are all imperfect, incomplete, and beautiful.
That's very powerful message, because be okay with this place of be imperfect and perfect at the same time, right? And I hear you, and I can relate to the maybe the stress of being an activist all the time, and pushing and fighting and trying to, get resources for your community. And I want to ask you how you see India being such a spiritual place. Tell us how the culture and all the Hindu religion impact in your life, and also maybe people fantasize a little bit about that, and I want you to share with us.
Yes. India has a very deep connection with gender diversity, and it's not just 100 or 200 years old, it's thousands of years old. Right from the Vedas, Mahabharata, and Ramayana, the great epics of India, from the Hindu culture. I've seen, I've read, I've also heard all the fascinating stories from Mahabharata and Ramayana, where there are characters like Arjuna who swapped gender into Brahanalla, a trans woman, and there is Shikandi who has the soul of a woman and the body of a man and all that. And beyond just that, there are hundreds and hundreds of other characters and stories in Mahabharata, Ramayana, Skanda Purana, and all those epics and religious stories. Every culture and every religion has its ups and downs and pros and cons. In India, the Hindu culture, the Hindu religion also is very diverse, and it's very rich and all that. But also over the years, it has been taken over by some people, and it became a part of it actually became gender imbalance. That is, women were not given equal status, and trans people were also not given equal status. That is because after the arrival of the British, majorly, colonization and their Victorian morality introduced in India and all that, that's how we became homophobic and transphobic for more than 2 centuries now. So, but before that, there are references of so many stories. Let's talk about Mahabharata a little bit. One story from Mahabharata, or maybe one story from Shiva and Vishnu as well. What can I say? This story of that story. There are so many stories that I can say, but let me say about Shiva and Vishnu, who is also known as Krishna, because many people know who is Krishna and many people also know who is Shiva. Okay, Shiva is a very powerful god. He's the destroyer of evil, but he's also very kind to his devotees. So when one of his devotees, who is a strong asura, that is, who is a strong man, who is comes from the kingdom, who is opposite to the devas, that's another kind of people. So when he does a penance is like meditation for so many years, thinking about Shiva and doing all the mantras and all that. Shiva, when he hears his penance for a number of years and his meditation on Shiva, Shiva's heart melts, and Shiva wanted to give a gift, a boon to the asura. He's called Bhasmasura. So Shiva says that, what do you want? And this guy says, I never want to die. That is what I want. So Shiva says, no, that is not possible. Everyone who is born has to die. So I cannot give you that boon, but still I can give you something that is very close to it. And then he asks, give me something that makes sure that I don't die. So Shiva says, you will not die. You will die only when you take your own hands and he gives a boon that whatever you touch will become ashes. That is what he wants. The Ashura wants that whatever he touches become ashes. So Shiva gives that. And what really happens when he gives that is, that guy wants to test it on Shiva itself. So he's after Shiva, trying to touch Shiva and make Shiva into ashes. You get it? So Shiva gave that boon, but Shiva is running because this guy is going, if he touches Shiva's head, Shiva is gone. So he's running to escape from this guy. And then Krishna comes, Vishnu comes and asks him what is wrong. And then Vishnu says, what happens is, Vishnu then takes the avatar of a woman. Vishnu becomes a Mohini, a beautiful woman. And then he goes to the Asura and dances and seduces him. And then the Mohini asks the other guy, do whatever down steps I do, you do it. And that guy also does all the dance steps. And at one step, she puts her head on her own head. And that guy also puts his hand on his own head, and he dies. He becomes ashes. And then Shiva escapes from that situation. But then Shiva sees Mohini, the beautiful Mohini, the avatar of Vishnu. And then Shiva falls in love. And then they get together, make love, and a child is born. And that is Lord Ayyappa, whom who is an auspicious, wonderful, powerful God. So Lord Ayyappa is actually the son of two male gods. Also, you could say trans women. Mohini is a trans woman. So Shiva and Mohini, these people make love, and Lord Ayyappa is born. So this is one of the stories, which is very much, every Hindu knows that, everyone accepts it, and it has been there for hundreds and hundreds of years in India. So one such story I'm just telling for an example. So what I'm saying is gender swapping, sexuality and gender identity, the diversity of it is so deep-rooted in our culture. That's why in India, transgender people are much more accepted than gay people and lesbian people. But at the same time, after the arrival of the British, we went down, our respect went down. But through activism for the past many years, we are trying to regain it, reclaim it. I'm not a religious person, but still, I love my country, and I am so proud that India is open and receiving to the entire world. Any person from any part of the world who is a transgender person will definitely be respected in India. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. It's amazing to see, not just in Hindu culture, but all over the world, right? We have goddesses who have both genders, and we see across the board, even in Brazil, in our ancestors, gender swapping, or being male and female, being man and woman, was not a problem in our indigenous community before colonization. That was part of the culture and was not a problem. When we have Portuguese coming, right, the colonization from Europeans happened, as same it happened in India. Homophobia, transphobia, abusing women. How do you see the colonization destroying, the sacred space for trans binary or non-binary people? Not just, we see that in like True Spirit community in North America. We see this here in Brazil. I want to know how the impact is in India culture.
I think it has been really, really bad, to the extent of labeling transgender people as a criminal tribe. There was even an act called the Criminal Tribes Act, which was introduced in the 19th century. And it had so many communities of people, groups of people, including the tribals and gypsies and transgender people, then called as eunuchs, termed and labeled as born criminals. So these people can be taken to police custody and investigated, and and can be kept for a number of days in the lockup, in the jail, for investigation purposes, and tortured too. So that happened because of the Criminal Tribes Act. So it has been terrible because of the colonization, and colonization really brought down the legacy of the transgender community in the country. It also fueled homophobia and transphobia in India. It also, 2 centuries of denying the education on gender diversity and sexuality has made people so narrow-minded when it comes to gender justice. So that was one of the poisons of colonization, unfortunately. And we haven't reclaimed and regained and gotten away from that poison. We're trying to just give medicine slowly to make everything okay, to be a healthy society. Yeah, so definitely, like Brazil, India has been a victim of colonization, and transgender people and gay people have certainly been a victim of this colonization because of the draconian laws that were introduced, like the 377, Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, which criminalized homosexuality, but it was only 3 years back, it was decriminalized. And only in 2014, the transgender community of India was legally recognized by the Indian Supreme Court. So we had to really work so hard for all of it. This is like reclaiming our rights and finding our space in the society, which was always there, destroyed. It was destroyed by colonization. But we are trying to put everything into together and reclaiming our rights.
That's so powerful, Kalki. Would you say the name of the law again? You said draconian law?
Yes, it was actually almost introduced around the time of the Indian independence and all that. So it was an age-old law. That's what I meant. It was a British law that has almost withered away in time, and it has been taken away, removed in their own country, but we are sticking to it. Indians and Pakistanis and Sri Lankans were sticking to it, Section 377. And now we got rid of it.
So that law is no longer in place, right?
That law is no longer in place, yes. But that doesn't mean that transgender people can actually get married. It doesn't mean like that. And gay marriage is valid. It's not like that. It is just that our relationships, two people having a sexual relationship by consent is not a crime anymore. That's what it meant.
Yeah, it's really sad to see the devastation of the colonization. And I feel like even if the law is not there in place, it changed so much people's perspective, right? I mean, the culture and everything, thinking about all trans women being, called criminals, and how hijras played that role.
Yeah, these draconian laws were really harsh and severe. That's what draconian also means. And hijra people have faced extreme prejudices because of that. Hijra people, once they also lived in palaces and were respected by kings and all that. But again, because of the British and their narrow view about sexuality and gender, transgender people, then called as eunuchs, were hiding and living. Once they were living as a part of the society, very much respected and all that. But then, they were hiding, they were living a life of isolation and hiding and oppressive and strict and all that. And that's because of the arrival of the British, colonization, and once again, as I said, the draconian law, which was extremely cruel and severe, and people were sometimes very much punished because of that. Yeah.
Thank you. When I say hijras, is that something that people think in Brazil? It's like a free, like if you're a trans woman in India, you must be a hijra, and that's a sacred place. Is that true? Tell us a little bit of what it is, a hijra.
A hijra person is considered neither a male nor a female, or even you can call them a transgender, third gender or something like that. But hijra people do have a place in the society where there are some beliefs, some Hindu people believe that if hijra people bless, good things happen, and if they curse, bad things happen. Hijra people are very much respected in the north, like, saints and sadhus and all that. But at the same time, they're also extremely vulnerable to sexual violence. They're also extremely vulnerable to disrespect from the society. And they are always chased away by their biological families. So on the one side, religiously, maybe they are respected, but on the social side, they are not so. They suffer, they beg, and they have been truly suffering for their economic empowerment. At least after the arrival of the British, their situation has been really bad in contemporary India. So a hijra person does have some respect, but does not enjoy all the rights of any other civilian in the country. So there's a lot to be said. It's not all rosy picture. It's not at all a rosy picture for a hijra person. You are excluded by the family. You are ridiculed by the society, by homophobic and transphobic people, and you go through severe personal, economic crisis and all that. It's not easy. But of course, other transgender hijra people come to support, and it is more of a family within the hijra community. So that is a good system which supports. Yeah, and it has been there for hundreds and thousands of years, of course.
That's so sad that, you know, all of this is still happening. And I think people here in Brazil and maybe other countries think, you know, if you're a hijra in India, you're okay, you have money, you have respect, you have everything, but that's not so true. Tell us a little bit about your organization, the Sahodari Foundation, and how it's 13 years of working with the organization and how you've been supporting trans community by everything being developed in there.
Sahodari Foundation was established in 2008, and since then we have been doing a lot of amazing work. We use visual media, that is films, mainstream films, video films, art and literature, poetry, monologue, performances, theater, all of it into activism over a period of 15 years. 14 years, we have done amazing work using all of it. We use technology. We adopt to technology very easily, and we pull up technology to empower our community, voice for our community and all that. Right from telling our stories on YouTube, each one of us creating a documentary in 2009, telling our own stories, and we screened it across many cultural centers all over our state and some parts of our country. From there on, we moved to performance arts, which is like dances, music and all that. From then, we transitioned into literature, poetry, writing, and from then we transitioned into art, creation, visual arts, fashion, and all that. So it's a very beautiful transition from one medium to the other, according to the period and time and activism. So Sahodari Foundation has done some of the most innovative and pioneering work in India when it comes to using activism, being active and standing up for transgender people, not like any other organization, but having our own innovative method of doing it, and we have done amazing good work.
It's so inspiring to see the photos and the videos you have up in the website. And also, I want to invite people who are seeing this program either live right now or, you know, after in the recording, that they can contribute to your organizations.
We Indian transgender community make lovely artworks. So if they are interested, they can buy our artwork. And also they can donate art materials and books. They can send it to us to support us and all that. So these are some of the things that they can do. They can also donate some trans flags and t-shirts and for our community as a token of gesture and kindness and all that. But buying art will be a great support as well for our community's livelihood. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us about your book, please, and how you've been touring around and doing panels about the book and what the book brings to, you know, the trans community.
Yeah. My book, We Are Not the Others, is a very special book. I actually have a copy. Just give me a minute. So here is my book, We Are Not the Others, which is available on Amazon.com. It is a collection of my poetry. It's in English. It's a collection of my poetry, my monologue, my essay, some of the conversations that I've had with people, and also it has art by me. Yeah, it has Indian Hijra transgender Tirunangai community here, and some of the artwork, you would love it. Don't tell me what to do. And you would love this art. It doesn't matter if, okay, here it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your son is a daughter or your daughter is a son. What really matters is how good you are as a father or as a mother. Yeah, that's what it meant. So there are many quotations and my paintings and drawings and all that in this book. It's a collection of To Hell with Patriarchy. Yes, To Hell with Patriarchy. So
Such a
it is
powerful
a beautiful book. It's available on Amazon. It's a the book was conceived in during the time of pandemic. I had written so many poems and writings, and I compiled all of it into this beautiful book. And also, another thing that I did is that, especially during the pandemic, the transgender communities, especially some of them who are very poor, had to go through so much of struggle. So I thought that this book also could be healing them. So I brought out this book for many reasons. Actually, it's a book comes out of darkness. Yes, but it's light.
To Hell with Patriarchy. Kalki.
To hell with patriarchy. To hell with patriarchy. There's also one more thing that I'm currently into, which is a very interesting project. I am converting my art. I'm actually making my art into fabrics, into fashion. I would like to show one of those pieces before I finish.
Yes,
which could be very fascinating for people. I'm printing them into clothes. Okay, here it is. My art is wearable art now. You see this? This is Frida Kahlo. So beautiful. I make these beautiful saris, clothes. This is one of the innovation that I have brought my art into dresses and all that, and I'm going to launch during Pride Month, but I'm happy to share about all this here now. First time I'm doing it on a public forum, of course. This is a blouse I am making with all the artwork. The whole body will be covered by art. So this is another experimental art and the merging of art and fashion together.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations. Your art's so pretty. And so people can buy this online soon. Are you sharing?
Soon they'll be, very soon they will be able to buy some of the, I don't want to put it as a commercial thing, but there'll be limited editions of blouses and scarves of these artwork, of these dresses and all that. So they will be available on my website. Every dress, every art will be just 5 to 6 pieces, and that's it. There'll be new ones. So it'll be more exclusive and limited edition. But I'm going to launch it in Pride Month, especially for our community of transgender people around the world. They'll be excited by it.
That's so pretty. Congratulations. And it's so amazing to see you transitioning to fashion now too, and like bringing your art in fabric. That's so amazing and so pretty. Congratulations. And we want to support you in any way we can here as well. So please count with us. When you're ready, when you launch, send us the link. So we put in our social media as well.
Sure. Thank you. That'll be so lovely. Pri, definitely I'll do it.
I have one more question. I practice a meditation who is to Kalki avatar, and it's so synchronistic that you are Kalki. Can you tell us what Kalki means?
Kalki is the last avatar of Lord Vishnu, according to the Hindu Puranas and all that. There are so many avatars. They say 10 avatars, 10 reincarnations. The god Vishnu is born into different incarnations. He was born as Machavatar. He was born into different Parasuram. He was born as Krishna. Krishna is also one of the avatars of Lord Vishnu. So the last avatar is the Kalki avatar. And that avatar he is born in the Kali Yuga. That is the end of the world. He is born. And he is born to destroy evil people and all that. So Kalki avatar comes in a white horse and he battles. Kalki battles. They say Kalki is an androgynous unisex name. Kalki also means Kali, they say. So Kalki avatar is an avatar that destroys evil and put an end to everything. And then there is this whole thing of peace and a new beginning. So that is what is Kalki avatar.
That's perfect. Your name and your book, and to the hell with patriarchy, destroy
patriarchy. We destroy all the evil of patriarchy, suppression, stigma, discrimination, and exploitation. Everything will be destroyed.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. It's such a pleasure to have this conversation with you. So if you want to know more about Kalki, go to our website. You can find the links for the social media, her website, and the organization, so you can learn how to contribute and be part of this international community who support trans people. And I guess how much together we can be now with technology, more strength we can gain in global scale.
Thank you, Pri, for this beautiful opportunity to voice out and talk from my heart. And thank you, everyone from Brazil, from Trans Pride Brazil, for listening to me. And I wish all the best for a very beautiful, smashing success of the Trans Pride. And I send my love to all our brothers and sisters and non-binary individuals and friends and families of trans folks. Love you all, and love from India and myself and Sahodri Foundation. Happy Trans Pride.
Happy
Trans Lives Matter.
Trans Lives Matter. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye. And vanakkam.
Bye.
So an ideal workplace, you would have, a senior manager expressing support for their LGBTI employees.
As empresas abrirem a cabeça e abrirem os olhos para dar espaço para a gente, é importante para eles e importante para a gente, porque a gente precisa estar inserido no mercado de trabalho, a gente tem nossa vida para gerenciar, a gente tem conta para pagar, a gente tem que resistir, a gente precisa de dinheiro, a gente precisa de emprego.
Giving LGBTI people a chance to reach their potential in the private sector is a pretty hard task to accomplish. If you look at the entire world, I think there is maybe, in the Fortune 500 companies, there's maybe 1 or 2 CEOs that are openly gay. And if you look at the board of those companies, you will find very few people that are openly LGBTI.
Mas a dificuldade é muito grande, porque
porque tem esse estereótipo que a trans tem que ser prostituta, tem que ser cabeleireira, ou tem que estar no meio, sempre na área da limpeza, sempre escondida, sempre atrás, nunca à frente.
Nosso trabalho no Transmissão é o trabalho que muita gente de várias empresas teriam que fazer.
O poder público tem feito a sua parte. Nós estamos promovendo vários programas de inclusão, conscientizando a população LGBTI sobre os seus direitos, promovendo programas, por exemplo, para a inclusão do nome social nos documentos, mas não é só isso que nós precisamos. Nós precisamos que depois da qualificação que esta população recebe e da garantia dos seus direitos, haja um processo de inclusão.
Eu acho muito interessante desse tema é que a gente tem a parte da responsabilidade, então as empresas como cidadão ela tem que então entender como trabalhar com o público LGBTI, internalizar esse público nos seus dia a dia, nas suas tarefas e ações, e tem o outro lado da oportunidade.
LGBTI people do not have the same opportunities than the rest of the population, which is particularly true for the most marginalized, like trans people. It's a human rights agenda, which by definition is a universal agenda.